Welcome, everyone. This is Polypheedles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin
Hi, hi.
and Sans Winda.
Hello.
Hello there, everyone. And this week, surprise, surprise, we have a patch.
Well, we knew this patch was coming though, because Yuletide.
Right. Update
Yay!
25.1, which of course includes the Yuletide Festival. And take a trip down to Winterhome, where all your favorite Yule Festival activities and quests are back, and new rewards are now available.
Except the cosmetics are still by into account on Acquire. Boo.
And other things for classes, champions now get 1 block per vitality. And what exactly
Can
does that mean,
champions
Terry?
block?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
mean,
pretty sure you only actually get block and blue line, which for some reason they decided that champions get block and blue line because it's the tanky-ish line, and I think you have to be wielding a two-hander or something. I don't know. I don't block stuff. I just kill things. So,
Shing,
practically
shing.
speaking, for me, this does nothing.
All right. Bjornings now get 0.5 finesse per fate. And Blue Line champions now receive a bonus to their base block score when they specialize.
See, so blue line champions get block, and then now apparently they're adding more block per point of vitality. Which, I mean, I guess if you're going to play a tanky class, you need block. I don't know. I had no trouble playing a tanky champion without the block, so I felt this was totally not a thing that I was going to use, but okay.
I mean, it might come in handy. I don't know.
Then for crafting, players can now craft using ingredients stored in their crafting carryalls.
Yay!
Hooray! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now, if only we could turn in task items from our task carryalls, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It might be coming. I don't know, but we can't turn in any tasks right now.
That's
so.
true.
Well, and Anorian fields now take 3 seconds to sow instead of 7 seconds. Oh, and they took care of the misspelling from the first time I read these notes. Okay, good. And Minas Ithil crafted tanking weapons now have more appropriate stats. Westamnet crafting Bjorning legendary weapons, rare and incomparable rarities, may now be crafted with ingredients packs. And some bows, including the Hero's Bow from the Valor level boost package, should now fit more cleanly on the player when not being wielded.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah, of course, the Hunter tears on that one. And
not that I use the regular Hero's Bow anyway on my Hunters, but it's always nice when the bows fit nicely.
Yeah. And softly moonlit tier 2 essences are now available to craft by Minas Ithil crafters. And as for housing, a new stable master has been placed in the social center housing neighborhoods that offers travels between a number of major travel destinations across Middle-earth. Most routes have had their usage restricted and discovery requirements, or their usual, usage and discovery requirements, with a few exceptions. Because these stable masters are highly generic, and because of the instance nature of neighborhoods, these stable masters are not a part of the Stable Master Collection UI. And these routes take players outside the entrance of. There are also some routes that take you outside the entrance of the neighborhood, and there are no usage restrictions on these routes, but there are discovery restrictions. Those are for the Belfalis on the non-legendary servers, Falathorn, Thorns Hall, the Shire, and Breeland. And these routes take players to a number of major travel destinations. Normal discovery and usage restrictions apply. Breetown Southgate, Thorns Hall, Nickeldelving, Kellendeem, Carascaladon, Rivendell, 21st Hall, Snowbourne, Osgiliath, Erebor, Belagoth, Scarhald, Machaashtu, Estoden Lan, Galtrev, and the Etmors.
That's so weird that Galtrov comes later in the list than the Mordor places.
Right.
Yeah, that is a rather strange. I tried to
Maybe it was a last-minute entry. I don't know. But Galtrov is a major hub, so it's weird to find it at like the bottom of the list.
Yeah, that is the. Yeah, I don't understand this order that we've got here.
Okay, it's not just me.
Yep. And these routes allow players to travel to festival grounds, Breland Festival Ground, no restrictions to travel. The Party Tree, no restrictions. Westmead, when the Harvest Math Festival is active, and Frostbluff, when the Yuletide Festival is active. And the Black Book of Mordor housing item pedestal now correctly animates when used.
Cool.
All right. And as for items, armor items from the sets of the Vale, of the Maul, and of the Vale's armories and Shadowbent are now correctly dyeable. Task item collection progress and turn-ins now work with task carry-alls, so that goes with something you asked for earlier.
Yay! Except that we can't test
Except that, yeah.
Yeah, carry-all content can now be sorted by name, quantity, or binding restrictions.
This was a
That
bit
will
weird
be
because I'm
good.
pretty sure that they don't bind at all.
Well,
Maybe
some of the crafting ones might.
I guess some of the crafted ones might, but I know the task items don't. And
Task
yeah,
items shouldn't, yeah.
Yeah.
And crafting carry-alls now have a capacity indicator.
That was really cool. That's how I know that mine aren't actually full yet, which is really, really awesome. So I get to run around opening like the backpacks and chests and things.
And carry-alls can now be destroyed when they are empty and not in the bank.
So
be
now I have to be careful.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so be careful.
Yes. And special winter gifts will be added to Hobbit gifts for a limited time starting on December 12th. You can receive festive housing decorations and cosmetic pets, with some available on the silver gifts and others available on the gold Hobbit gifts. The gold winter gift also offers a chance to receive an elk steed.
More on this later.
Yes. And as for PvP, adjustments have been made to Creepside stats to improve balance and permit further adjustments in the future. And as for quests and adventuring areas, 4 new quests have been added to the Minas Morgul expansion. Claim the Dead City in the Reclamation of Minas Ithil. 4 courts in Minas Morgul have fallen under the control of fearsome foes. Reclaim them all for the White Company and gain a foothold into Minas Morgul. Also, Minas Morgul, the Circle of Death, Mandal now offers a quest to lead the adventurers into the Wrecking Hall of Minas Morgul.
That sounds like fun.
Yes. Cyan difficulty has been unlocked for all Minas Morgul 3-person instances. Tier 2 and higher instance chests in Minas Morgul instances cluster are now guaranteed to drop its Ithilgalad crafting components, in addition to the chance of equipable gear that was already present when favorable pools are exhausted. The cap level Yuletide Festival seasonal Storvagun's Riches now offers new rewards, including Bracers of the Bear for level 75 or level 130 characters. So level 75, I presume, is for the legendary servers.
Mm-hmm.
The Deeds of Imlan Morgul and Morgul Besiege now awards a mount. If you already completed the deed, the mount will be awarded retroactively. The rare chests of Minas Morgul deed no longer completes too early. Well, that explains how I managed to finish that so quickly. The Shadow Roost instance Katob, the brood mother, now has a chance to drop 2 new housing items with the Shadowed Roost instance when the Shadowed Roost instance is run in Tier 2 or higher. Minas Morgul hiring a Morgul, the contagion area of effect will now draw over terrain in the boss room. Filthwell instance Oppressive Shadows is now curable corruption-based skill. Minas Morgul instances are hiring a Morgul. Background fighting orcs no longer have physics. Dwarf holes reclaiming the gray weekly endgame quests have been slightly adjusted. Orodruin quest Durance Folk gathering gems. All 8 gems are now available. And Storvagun the Traitor Tier 1 no longer requires completing the boss from the vaults Stormagen at the level cap. Instead, as long as your level is within a few levels of the instance, you will automatically receive this quest once per day in the tier 1 instance. And for the UI, the Sake control panel has been reconfigured to be more compact. Not that I've ever really used that. I keep on forgetting it existed. Yes, and the in-game web browser will now reload on page load finish to help correct an issue where the help menu would not display for some players. And the UI settings option induction bar display will now additionally show a floating target progress bar and induction name for the selected target. And now for some known issues. Tiers 4 and 5 of Gath Daraval, the Shadow Roost, along with the hiring of Morgul, have been temporarily locked while we correct an issue with them. So yeah, they open up the instances and then they quickly close them down again.
Well, the instances are still open. It's just tiers 4 and 5.
Right, yeah, tier 4. Well, I mean, they just opened up the tier 4 and 5 for them. So 2 of them are not quite ready, apparently. And additionally, task collection boxes and homesteads have been temporarily disabled due to collection issues. Actually,
This is actually all of the task collection boxes.
So does that mean like the tasks in Bree could be turned in?
Yeah, because that's with a quest giver. Bree has quest givers. And for example, let's say the ones in Stangard, which instead of having a task collection box,
you do it right at
turn
the
it on
board.
at the board. So since you turn it on the board, you can turn them in. And I know that because I did that this morning. But if it involves...
So we can still do tasks, just not in the newest areas or at the housing areas.
Right.
Or anywhere else that has a task box.
Anywhere else that has a task box, such as the Misty Mountains. And I know the Misty's uses task box. And of course, as you noticed, a lot of the higher level areas use task box.
Mm.
But those that use... So on the legendary servers, they're less affected by it because there are fewer areas that use the boxes.
That makes sense.
So those are the updates for 25.1, and some of these items are going to be addressed in a patch next week. They are shooting for early next week. My guess is Tuesday, but flip a coin on when they will actually be ready to do it.
Right.
Then let's head into the LOTRO Beacon, where it looks like some people are celebrating the Yule Festival.
They're dancing with the dancing snowman.
Yeah. In the community spotlight, Winterfest takes place this weekend on Krikalos. So, well, you probably missed most of that by now if you're listening to this. If you listen to it live, you definitely missed it if you're not listening to it live. And the Wintermond family are hosting their annual holiday party on Belaguer on December 15th.
Which is tomorrow.
Yes, which is tomorrow if you're listening live. And help out help out the Hobbity Yule calendar with food picks. Click there to find out how to submit your food picks by tomorrow.
Actually, if you click the link, it says the deadline has been extended for the weekend.
Oh, it has been.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. It has been great. All right, and has been. Please send your edit. The deadline has been extended. I'm not too sure what they mean because the weekend ends on December 15th.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that means that they updated it. That it used to be probably the 13th or something like that. Maybe we'll. Whatever. If you're listening to it live, you have a chance to actually still get them in. And the Rolling Kegs are back for the latest concert on December 17th. It starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time, opposite the Prancing Pony on Laurelin, because on that server, 3 p.m. Eastern would be 5 p.m. Would be 8 p.m. Would be 8 p.m. So they'll be in prime time for most of the people on Laurelin. So let's go and see who's in the Kin Hall this week. The Kindred Spirits are an Arkenstone-based kinship with a main focus on helping players of all levels. This casual, active, and helpful kin runs weekly groups for both low-level and end-game players. People of all ages and abilities are welcome, and you can click on the link to get more information. So now let's head into the weekly comment. What has been your favorite part of Minas Morgul so far?
I'm not there yet.
Looking at it from afar, because I'm not there yet.
Looking at it from afar and enjoying everybody else's screenshots, because I'm not there yet.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that comment this week and I was like, I'm not there yet.
Can't you wait another week before giving that one, before we could at least have gotten close? Let's see. Actually, I have been to Minas Morgul, and, well, Minas Morgul is, I suppose, calling it appropriate named is... Yeah, that's certainly a dreadful place. It's certainly not a place where you would want to hold a family picnic.
Well, it depends on the family.
What, do you mean the Addams family?
Well, or how well do you really love your friends and relatives?
Oh, boy.
Hey guys,
Oh.
we're gonna have this picnic right here. You sit there. I'm gonna go get the snacks. No, really, it's not to get the trolls. It's to get the snacks.
Oh,
If
don't
you
pay
see
attention
the troll,
to the raids.
don't poke it.
And you know somebody else is going to. Yeah. I'm trying. Oh, yeah. Well, I think that my favorite part of it, though, is something that will still be spoilery, so I'm not going to mention it. But it's let's just say there's some shenanigans that go on in there that I found as a favorite part to it.
My favorite part of the expansion so far has to be the cinematic we unlocked today. Which more on that later.
Yeah, we'll get more on that later. So let's head into our fan site news. Gandalf gets told in the latest LOTRO Players news in last week's episode. And LOTRO Stream is your first place to go for LOTRO on Twitch. In the past week, Uger gets adventurers. Haydn runs an instance, and the Dwarf Scholar celebrates the holidays. Twitch is home to other LOTRO streamers as well, and Dang runs Minas Morgul. Steenie celebrates LOTRO Wednesday, and Bloodborne's blades are raging. And YouTubers are also making videos. Zogai keeps the promise, Benjamin gets crafting, and Gameo and Gameoliodan gets goblins. And of course, the Yuletide Festival has arrived, and you could click on the link for their little thing saying what's there. But of course, it's pretty much the stuff that's been every other year. I don't think there's anything really new except, of course, some new rewards. And therefore, let's head into our screenshot of the week, which, of course, is another one of Minas Morgul and Daenerys Mithenalon sent this great screenshot of Minas Ethel for this week's screenshot of the week. And thanks for sending it in. And all right.
Like I said, I'm enjoying everybody's screenshots.
And that's it for our LOTRO Beacon this week. So, Terry, what's on sale?
We actually have some not great sales.
Oh.
Well, I mean, we have some decent sales, but the Yule savings were We have 35% off universal solvents, which is crafting stuff. 50% off more crafting junk. The craft crit, crafting XP, rapid craft, and greater crafting accelerators. Woo. 75% off the premium wallet, which is pretty awesome. Because that's a little spendy. And if you're going to spend points, you should definitely spend it on being able to hold more gold. And then they call it skip to your favorite chapters, but I actually call it the tourist experience. Get 20% off Gifts of the Valor and Blessing of the Valor, the Third Age item trove, the Legacy scroll box, now through December 19th. Also, the weekly coupon gets you a free Dye Umber with coupon code Dye Umber now through December 19th. Which they really need to start doing those in packs of 5.
They only give you one umber dye. That's
one whole umber dye.
The easiest dye, I think, to make by a scholar in the game.
Yeah, it's one of the easy ones. But you still, like in the auction house, it sells for an outrageous price.
What?
Yeah, I may have spent way too much money buying dye this week on Langevall. And Langevall is one of the cheaper places to get dye. I checked dye prices on Arkenstone once, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way.
Yes. Let's head to our site news then. First, we have another issue of Where in Middle-earth is Emeraldina? Where, first off, last week's, well, all I could say was in a hobbit hole, and the actual answer is that it was in Bingo Boffin's bedroom.
Yeah. Pre his leaving, because I'm sure that space looks different when he comes back.
Yeah, it looks a little bit different when he gets back. In fact, that's how I tended to remember Bingo Boffin's hall, was how it looked when he gets back, so it didn't look as good. So I didn't even think of Bingo Boffin house as a result of that. I mean, you do see it again later on, all cleaned up, but seeing that it's in the middle of a party, he was obviously not holding a party at the time.
Right.
And this week, it looks cold.
Yeah, there's definitely snow and ice and kind of a cool outfit.
Yes, so that is our Where in Middle-earth is Emeraldina. Then let's head into Critters, Noffer number 4. Where it looks like Critters is visiting Lothlorien. So you could check out what's going on this week as they make their little journey there. And Squirrel also has an opinion piece this week, and he is certainly not keeping his opinion quiet here.
Well, he
And
makes a couple of valid points in this article.
yes, George and the Yule slot machine. And he is essentially making a complaint about the updates to the Yuletide for the Hobbit gifts.
Yep.
Well, all right. First of all, as for number 5, the patch notes did say you'll sometimes get extra gifts on this. So having rounds with no extra gifts, I think, is a pretty. Well, they did say sometimes. But I think the main complaint here is that apparently the items, as far as he knew at the time of writing this, that I don't know if word has changed on this or not, but it looks like he doesn't know another way in order to get any of that stuff.
There's not.
Isn't
Right,
that
there
true
isn't.
of other things? Like, until recently, you couldn't get the stuff that you could randomly get from, what's her face, who's warming her hands? Is she Mara or somebody?
Mara, yeah.
I thought the stuff that she gives you was from the.
Or maybe it's
No.
like the one thing that you couldn't get was the hobby horse until they introduced the curator.
The hobby horse was one, and then there are a couple of account-bound cosmetics that come out of that Yule sack, but the odds of getting those are a lot higher. When you're
Right, like
talking
the
about the
Snow
gold
Beast.
winter present only pops, like, unless you're paying mithril to reset your gold present, it's once a week, which means you've got, like, what, 4 chances
Right.
before the festival's over with?
Though before there were those like pick-a-mountain boxes too that were pretty rare to get. And they came out of loot boxes, and the keys were even rarer unless you bought them. I mean,
Actually, before there were pick-a-mount boxes, there were just the steeds, which were even rarer. But you still had the chance because the keys were dropping. I mean, that's related to the whole loot box issue.
It looks like that relating to the concerning the gold presents, because I had characters on all 12 servers, I have actually opened up 12 different gold boxes this week. And of these, 2 of them got large trees, 2 got pet pig cosmetics. Now this 2 got, no, actually 4 got rugs, because 2 got rugs with morale potions and 2 got rugs with power potions. 1 got, and the other 2 were higher level ones. It looks like I've only seen the gold boxes come with the lowest tier of the gold boxes. The higher tiers are just whatever you get for those. So that's what it is. So therefore, I did manage to get 2/3 of my gold boxes came out with the extra present of some sort. So it sounds like you're probably going to get at least 1 gold box, maybe 2. If you're lucky, maybe even 3 during the course of the Yule Festival will come out that way.
though
And
you
now,
could still not get anything.
Well, yeah.
Depending on how much the RNG doesn't like you.
Yeah, there is always the RNG. Now, on the silvers, it looks like I've seen the extra things come out on the 3rd tier, is where I tended to see them, where I got a wreath and a tree. I had 2 people get trees and 3 got wreaths during this last week. But it looks like I got higher than normal numbers in the middle tier, whether they changed the odds or to favor the middle tier 3 on there, or I was exceptionally lucky, I don't know. Now, let's see. Guerinda says, all I have got so far is the decorative wallpaper, and in my gold on Thursday. I have not yet seen the decorative wall.
I got
I
it.
got it in my gold present on Landvault and got a rug on Arkenstone.
Oh, right. What came with the wallpaper? What was the other thing that was with it?
I don't remember.
Heritage Room was what mine. It was like 60,000 LIXP. Not much.
Oh, okay. The decorated heritage rune then.
I didn't get a rune. I got something else. Maybe it was Mark's. I don't remember.
Yeah, okay. So we're not sure on that matter then. Maybe I'll find that out by the end of this round on this. As I said, I've been checking on all 12 servers, which gives me higher than normal chances of seeing some of these things. Now, Mary Rose says that the red background on the Hobbit gives is hurting her eyes when you logged in last night. Yeah, there is that. It is rather
Definitely
bright.
surprised me, but it was kind of fun to have a cheery, festive background too.
Yeah.
It's got little snowflakes on it.
So it all depends on how you perceive color, it sounds like.
And maybe how bright your monitor is, because mine's not very bright, even with it turned up all the way.
Ah, there is that. So anyway, the other thing is complaining about duplicates. But yes, random. Unfortunately, random is random. Yes. Oh, that's right. Corey Olson during his stream was running around in Rohan with the cosmetic pig following him. Yes, and let's see. And of course, items are all bound to account, especially bad with pets. So of course, Terry will say especially bad with cosmetics.
Yeah, I would rather see pets bound to account so that you can't sell them in the auction house for, huge amounts of money.
Now, of course, there is this. Now, number 4 he's complaining about is, of course, unlimited resets, meaning you can spend mithril for. I've never intentionally spent mithril to reset a Hobbit present. I think I did it.
No.
Yeah,
I have done it on
accidentally
accident.
done it, but not purposefully, and I was pretty
Yeah.
miffed when I did it accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's some people that will do it in there. But I think the biggest complaint I heard is actually not on his list, and there's someone saying that there's an elk in here now. Is this an exclusive elk for this thing? It's not
Yes.
the normal elk.
It's an exclusive elk.
It's an exclusive elk, and a lot of people were complaining about that because of the completionist mount getters not having a way in which to get it if this proves to be the only way. Maybe it'll be opened up in another way later on, but that if so, it has not yet been announced. We'll see how that works. Now there was a let's see. Now there was a comment in response to that. And let's see, that you could only get this through loot boxes and that there were a majority of new items in the Yule Festival. And they were the majority of the new items for the Yule Festival this year. I haven't checked what the new items were.
I wasn't sure when I was looking at it what was new for sure, so.
All right, I'll have to go and check to see what the new items are. I haven't gone into the festival
I also did not look very
yet.
closely because we were getting ready to go.
Yeah. But anyway, you could read Squirrel's opinion on that matter, which that concludes our little bit on the site news. So let's head into a new player's question. And it looks like we have it sent in by Glamborn from Landreval.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the question?
Sans you.
I'm not the question.
Okay,
You get to
fine.
read the question. This is your segment.
Can you explain what is involved in the 42 days? This is why it's me. Can you Glamborn sent this in case we didn't say that. I think you just said that, though.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it now, and it says sent in by Glamborn of Landerval. It does not say, Sans, that's you. Just for the record. Sent in by Glamborn of Landerval. Can you explain what is involved in the 42 days of Minas Tirith? How do I get Amphalos Scrolls of Delving, and how do I get Amphalos Starlit Crystals? Great questions. Okay, so, the 42 days of Minas Tirith. As soon as you reach friend standing with the Defenders of Minas Tirith, you open up 2 daily quests, one at the North Gate and one at the South Gate of Minas Tirith. They are not within the walls of the city of Minas Tirith, so don't spend all your time running around inside Minas Tirith. They are outside Minas Tirith. You can get quests that tell you to go see them. Right across from the Stable Master, there's 3 guys standing around who have barter items, and they will have quest rings when you become friends with the Defenders of Minas Tirith, and you can take their quest ring to help point you to the quest giver if you would like. You don't actually need their quests to do the dailies. You then go to the North Gate and the South Gate. You pick up one quest. It opens up a bunch of other quests. You take all the quests relating to that one quest. If you have not done all the quests at that gate, there will be a lot of quests to sift through at this point. So make sure you pay attention to which ones you're picking up and if they're important, if you're low on quest space. After you... Okay, so like the first quest you pick up tells you to complete all these other quests. After you pick up all the other quests you're supposed to complete, and they are all helpfully labeled with the first thing, so like it'll be like, North Gate this, North Gate this, North Gate this, North Gate this, and then you're like, oh, cool, it's these ones. It might really be like reclaiming the North Gate or something, but it's pretty obvious. You take them, you travel into the instance, and you complete the quests, you come back out, you turn in the quest, and you get some barter tokens, and it's all great, and you get some rep with Minas Tirith. And you go back in and you turn in the barter tokens to the barterers, and you trade them all around the circle. I start with the guy on the left and trade to the guy in the middle, and then trade to the guy on the... No, I start with the guy on the right, and I trade to the left. So, trade all his tokens for the tokens of the guy in the middle. The guy in the middle, you trade all of his tokens for the guy on the left. The guy on the left, the second page of his barter items, has Amphalos Scrolls of Delving. And he's the only one who sells them in that particular area. Once you become kindred, you open up a third... once you become kindred with the Defenders of Minas Tirith, you open up a third daily quest that's in the Cisterns of Minas Tirith, which is on the third circle. When you get off the Stable Master, it's to your right. And you go all the way that way, you do the same thing, you pick up the one quest that tells you to complete the other quests, you pick up the other quests that you do, then you travel now, and go clean out the cisterns, complete those quests, come back out, turn in that quest, go back downstairs, and once again, you trade all your tokens around. So the guy on the right, you trade for the guy in the middle, you trade for the guy on the left second page has the Scrolls of Delving. You can get 6 to 8 scrolls a day, depending on where you're at in your token collection and how many tokens you have, and whether or not you take the extra Urk High quest on the North Gate. Because the extra Urk High quest is actually not in that instance, it's just out on the fields in front of the doors of Minas Tirith. But if you take that, then you can, every few days, earn up to 8, but you usually get 4 to 6 or something, scrolls. About 2 per daily that you've opened and done. So it is a reasonably cheap way to get Amphalos Scrolls of Delving. There are other ways.
Tedious.
It's very tedious. You can do the dailies in Osgiliath for Amphalos Scrolls of Delving. Their quests are also very tedious and require a lot of running around and looking for things. And you can get 2, I think, scrolls of delving for doing them, and it takes just as long. So the barter rate in Minas Tirith is good. The barter rate elsewhere is not as good. Osgiliath is the next best that I found. And then you can do it in... Oh, there's this one place. I don't remember for sure what it is. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. But there's a couple other places in Gondor where they have daily quests and barterers, or where they have rep vendors who have Amphalos Scrolls of Delving that you can barter for. They're just really expensive, and it's really hard to get their currency.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
If you want to max out your ally, you now need more than 42 days in Minas Tirith per ally with all 3 daily quests open to get enough Scrolls of Empowerment to max out your ally. There is one other way you can get them. Well, 2 other ways. 3 other ways you can get Scrolls of Delving. They're also very expensive. You can pay a lot of marks and medallions, and skirmishes don't give very much because we're still getting as much now per skirmish as we did at level 105, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sad because they're a lot harder now than they were at 105. You can do epic battles, and you can trade in stars of merit for them. It's ridiculously expensive, so I do not get Amphalos Scrolls of Delving with stars of merit.
300 stars of merit.
It's expensive. I think the Starlit Crystals are the 300, though. I think the Scrolls of Delving are like 150. But they're still not worth it, because for 2 Scrolls of Delving, you could get an Amphalos Starlit Crystal, which would be way better. And you could go roving threat hunting, or treasure cache opening to get the Gift Givers brands. And 10 Gift Givers brands will get you 1 Scroll of Delving. So also not very good exchange rate. Thus, Minas Tirith is generally how people end up getting their scrolls. To get your Starlit Crystals, they could drop from skirmishes, I believe.
From lieutenants and skirmishes.
From lieutenants and skirmishes.
And also in the final chest.
And maybe the final chest. Okay, so there's options for dropping in skirmishes. I've gotten maybe 2 that way, but I don't skirmish super often.
Yes, it's a rare drop, and seeing how skirmishes have been becoming tougher and tougher and tougher. But I do know that, for example, if you have a raid, a tier 3 raid, back when I was doing tier 3 raids, we had usually maybe 3 to 4 crystals drop during a run. Now, of course, that means a particular player would get 1 in every 4 based on that rate.
So
that's sort of like how it goes. I would say about 3 to 4 will drop during a run of a particular skirmish raid. A pretty long interval if you're doing solos or something like that. Just remember, though, is that it has to be level 100 or higher for those crystals to drop. So.
Yes. So you could run it maybe faster at level 100 if you're higher level. You can get them with Stars of Merit from doing epic battles. You can get them with festival tokens now if a festival is on. And one of the easiest ways to, for sure, have enough festival tokens is to...
Yeah, okay, Sans, you're dropping in and out.
Oh, sorry. Is this any better?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So am I dropping in and out?
No, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay.
So you can get Amphalos Starlit Crystals from festivals, but they are bound to character, not to your account. They are bound to the character who purchases them. So you can't send a lower level alt to go do your festivaling and get your Starlit Crystals, unless they can get Starlit Crystals for themselves and save them up, but they won't help you on a higher level alt. To get enough, it takes 1 full round of In and Ale League deliveries, or sometimes you can get it from doing all the quests in the festival or something like that. but it's usually possible to get at least one a day, without a huge amount of work. But it does get tedious, of course. Can you buy them at skirmish camps? I don't know. If you can, they're expensive.
Not the Starlit Crystals.
I don't think so. Just the Scrolls of Delving at skirmish camps. Where else can you get them? Those are the places I know for sure you can get them. Is drops in skirmishes, and those are rare, and then you can barter for them at festivals or with your Stars of Merit. Yeah. But they are very expensive with Stars of Merit too. Much harder to get than the Scrolls of Delving if a festival is not on in particular, but you don't need as many of them. So in terms of annoyance, they're probably about equal. But yeah, I guess you could trade Dull Amroth tokens for Scrolls of Empowerment too. Actually, I just realized this question was about Scrolls of Delving, and I'm answering about Scrolls of Empowerment. Scrolls of Delving, you could buy. You only need one per LI though.
Yeah.
You could get those.
So he may have meant
shards.
Scrolls of Empowerment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he meant Empowerment. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Empowerment too, because oh, you should note though that while you're doing your 42 days in Minas Tirith, you'll be getting the Minas Tirith barter tokens too. And you can trade those at a pretty decent rate for essence removal scrolls, which is a nice byproduct of having to do all the Minas Tirith things. So, a little bonus.
Do you actually use essence removal scrolls? I don't think I've ever used one.
Sometimes, if I know I have an alt who could use the essences and I want to ash the armor. Or if I want to still use the armor, but I put on just whatever essences I had. And I'm planning to go raiding.
Okay.
Now,
Mary Rose Morningstar says, when I get bored, I chase down the warbands in West Gondor to get Dull Amroth tokens to trade for Scrolls of Empowerment. So
yeah,
she likes
Dull Amroth tokens is another way you can do them.
All right, so that's it for why she says 42 days in Minas Tirith, though it's probably more these days.
Yes, you need, okay, so to trade for them at Dull Amroth, you need to be kindred with Dull Amroth, and you need 20 Amroth silver pieces. You could also trade for them from the Dull Amroth Quartermaster for like 20 silver tokens and 7 gold tokens of Dull Amroth. The Rangers of Ithilien in Osgiliath, I think that's the one. You need the 15 East Gondor pieces per scroll. Legendary Items Vendor, it's 2,541 marks and 293 medallions, which I'd rather spend on cosmetics at Harndarian. If I'm going to spend them on a one-use thing. Roving Threat Quartermaster, 10 Gift Givers brands. Minas Tirith, it's 4 Smith's tokens, which is a pretty good deal. Oh, you can get them for Morgul crests too. If you have a lot of Morgul crests for some reason and you can't decide what to spend them on, it takes 3 Morgul crests. Wikipedia says it's only 90 Stars of Merit, so maybe I had enough to buy one the other day, but I still wouldn't use my Stars of Merit on it.
Okay.
42,660 shards, though, if you want to make it at a Relic Master. Which is ridiculous, because I don't think I've ever had that many shards. Not even on Bullroar. Pelennor Battle Rewards Vendor, 3 Morgul Clarests again. You could get it for 3 Ancient Ithil coins, but I would save your Ancient Ithil coins for other things. Actually, I think you might be able to use those to get crystals too. I'd have to look that up. And you could get it in Glenreg for 1,000 commendations? That seems like a waste of commendations.
Oh well.
I guess if you're not doing tons of PvMP,
Maybe, but if you're not doing tons of PvP, how did you get that much? How did you get that many commendations?
Oh, 1,000 isn't a whole lot to come by. Because really, to get anything halfway decent, you need multiple thousands.
Well, that is true. But, I mean, if I was doing it that often, I'd probably want to spend them on something else or save them for something else. Okay, so for your Starlit Crystals, just to give them a fair share of this, you can trade them in for 9 Morgul Crests. You can get one for 6 Ancient Ithil Coins. You could get one for 300 Stars of Merit. During the Anniversary Festival, you could get it for 40 Anniversary Tokens. During the Spring Festival, you could get it for 60 Spring Leaves. During the Summer Festival, you could get it for 30 Summer Festival Tokens. During the Farmers Fair Farmers Fair, you can get it for 120 Farmers Fair Tokens. During the Fall Festival, it's 90 Fall Festival Tokens, and during the Yule Festival, it is 120 Yule Festival Tokens, which, like, when you even it out, if you trade for the boxes, it is roughly the same because of the way that they trade. So, even though the festivals look like vastly different numbers, acquiring them is about the same amount of effort. So, and if a festival's not on, then you're stuck with the Pelennor Battle Rewards vendor, the Pelennor Rewards vendor, or the Battle Decorations with the Stars of Merit for getting your Starlit Crystals, or relying on random drops. You can also check the auction house if you have tons and tons and tons and tons of gold, but they're listed for very high prices there, so.
Oh, what a shock.
Right? Given how many you need? Yeah.
Let's then head into our week in LOTRO. So I think we certainly gave that question enough time. And Terry, what were you up to?
Well, Terry Edwin is finally done with Second Age Mordor. Except for side quests and pages. But the end of the Black Book chapter, which I finally finished today, included a very awesome cinematic, which is one of the best ones I've seen in the game. In fact, we came out of... So it finishes on a solo instance that then goes into the cinematic. And we came out of it, and I just yelled at the top of my lungs, "That was amazing!" And I apologize to Pine Leaf and Sands because I probably, burst eardrums, or maybe they were expecting it and were holding their headsets away from their... Because I was super excited going into the cinematic even.
I was so excited too.
So, yes. Yay! I'm back in Third Age Gladden Fields and hope to be closer to Minas Morgul this time next week. I'm getting there slowly but surely. I might actually reach Minas Morgul by the end of the year. That's my goal, to reach Minas Morgul by the end of the year.
Here we
Minas
come.
Morgul or bust, yeah. And I don't just want to go there. I want to actually get there in the story. And then Sarissa completed the Hutefold rebuild. Remember, I was working on that because I discovered this week that you can turn in Hypold tokens in exchange for rep. It's like 5 tokens for 1,200 rep. So the little bit of Endwash Vale and Norcross that she still needed to do, done, because she had 425 tokens when I looked. I'm like, well, I could spare some tokens. I think I spent under 50 tokens to max out her rep with those 2 factions. And so then I got to do the really, really, really cool instance that grants you the Thane of Hootbold title. And I did not realize, because nobody's ever really talked about it in all of the time I've heard people talk about the Hootbold rebuild. You get the title, the Thane of the Eastemnet. They basically appoint you in charge of the whole Eastern Rohan, which is pretty awesome.
I don't think that's what they really meant by that, because...
It's totally what they meant by that. That's what that whole instance is about.
No, but the point is a Thane... There is no such thing as a Thane of the Eastment. I think they're saying that you were a Thane that you were a Thane within the Eastment, I think is what they meant. Rather
no, that's totally not...
It's totally not what it says,
that
though.
instance.
Because it's an Aldor who's in charge of the entire Eastment.
look, the whole point, because I just did that instance and it was awesome. Because also at some point Harding turns to me and says, "So everyone here has come to trust you." And I looked at him after reading that quest text and I was like, "Well, that's a mistake because burglar is totally trustworthy, right?" Yeah, not so much. So yeah, I had fun with that. But no, really, the whole point of that instance is that they want to band together and have somebody in charge of the Eastern Net because they feel like somebody needs to be responsible of making decisions because
why?
because Theoden isn't, because this is before Gandalf kicks Grima in the butt to get him out the door. So Theoden is still, just kind of languishing on his throne and not doing anything. So the various leaders of the Eastern Net have gotten together and decided that somebody needs to be in charge. And so yes, that was my takeaway of that instance, is I basically got to be in charge. I'm in charge. And I basically told them to go back to town and do their thing because I'm off to Dol Amroth. Speaking of Dol Amroth, she achieved acquaintance with the Masons. So I have new instance I can do in retaking the city. And her next stop is she's going to be heading up to the Paths of the Dead to work on Swan Knights, because that's going to be the next thing that I do. Weirdly, I only had 2 places open because I had opened the armory already. But, you get the library when you do it the first time. And of the 2, the place that I actually picked to do was the library. Because for whatever reason, as much as I hated the library on every other character, it's still the easiest thing to do on the burglar. Because you have fewer multi-mob groups. A lot of what you have in that instance is single mobs, which is really easy to stealth up and just stab them a bunch of times until they fall over dead. And then the other thing I did this week was I picked up my warden and discovered that I forgot how to warden. Oops. Because it's really not a class that you can kind of pick up on the fly and just go, wee! No,
Well, I've
actually
gotten a lesson in how to button mash from my sister today, so.
Well, and there is a fair amount of button mashing involved in it. So there is that.
You just need 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I've been told you really just need 4, 4, 4, 4, but I don't think that actually works very well.
No, that won't work.
No. Well, because she's got something different on the 4. It's not the gambit thing on the 4.
Oh,
and I need to figure out what that skill is.
I need to figure out what that skill is now that you mentioned
that. Because I'm pretty sure I don't have it.
Gambit skill. You're right.
Because I was looking at my skills and I'm like, okay, what skill is she talking about that's on the 4? Because I'm pretty sure, because whatever skill it is doesn't have much cooldown. And I'm like, I don't have anything that doesn't have lots of cooldown. Other than, the gambits.
The gambit builders, yeah.
The gambit builders and then the actual cash out. So, yeah. But she's finishing up Eastern Rohan because, I've got an alt that's finished Eastern Rohan and discovered that Hypehold was fun to rebuild because you don't actually have to bang your head on the wall to build the wrap. To build the town, you can actually just get a bunch of tokens and go haywire and go nuts and build the thing in a couple of days, which is way easier than I remember it being. Because Terry went through it initially before they changed it to where buying the buildings was only 1 token. They changed it after she came through because that was shortly after Western Gondor came out. They took a look back at Hypehold and they're like, you know what, this really doesn't need to be this hard anymore. So it's not as hard anymore.
Yeah, didn't they change that for an anniversary thing? Because you needed to have done Hypehold to do it.
Possibly. So that would have been like 2 years ago.
Are recent from the anniversary thing, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so my next character is also going to be rebuilding Hypehold. And at some point, I will take a character through there who's actually going to use one of the titles that I get for doing it. But yeah, that was my week. Sans, how was yours?
My week was good. I went slaying in Second Age Mordor before making it back to their future. Or mine. I'm not sure whose future, actually. And that was pretty fun. And there were so many cool things, like Terry said. I didn't want to put it down. I want to keep going in the story and find out all of the things, because there's still so many unanswered questions, and it just raised more of them, and it was awesome. And then I made it to level 106 while questing in Udun with my hunter on Arkenstone during the field trip, which is excellent because she is the one who, foolishly, potentially slightly bravely, decided that with the changes that they made to Mordor, surely starting Mordor at level 101 would be totally fine. Spoiler alert, it's not. Second spoiler alert, you actually need weapons that have a title on them. So yeah, she picked up a title, and then they went questing in Udun for a little bit more. She made it to level 106, and can now open the crafting map packages that drop, so they aren't all uselessly taking up space in her inventory and then making it so she can't open them because of lack of space. So that was awesome. And she's getting stronger, because she's getting better allies and stuff, so that's good. And I got a port to Moria on another hunter who spent some time searching for scholarly artifacts after ensuring that she could get back to the 21st Hall. So, that was my week. How was your week, Pine?
Right. We will begin with my honor warden, who helped to rescue an eagle. And then on Knowledgeable, my warden on Knowledgeable jogged someone's memory about old events. And I think that's about all I'm going to say about there. And Sans Winda and Terry Edwin know exactly what I'm talking about on that. And during the field trip on Arkenstone, we performed some anvil vandalism. And that takes care of our week in LOTRO. We did not receive any donations this week. Good grief, I'm off this way. We currently have 15 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious array of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast your choice, or even be guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. We didn't have emails this week, but we do have a featured comment from Bragg. And what did Bragg say?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
Bragg says, LOTRO Players News. Hail and well met. Bragg of the Lonely Mountain here. And yes, I am still alive. Hooray! Well, the hooray is mine. Tip for Terry. When doing resource instances, when it has one of several random mobs available, you can leave the instance, start another, exit, and then restart the resource instance. It will randomly generate a new mob type for you. You can do this as many times as you want, as long as you don't exceed the maximum number of instances open per hour. I've done that once. I am 99% sure this works in Rohan as it does in other areas, as I used to do this all the time to ensure that I got humanoid mobs for page drops, or for certain Slayer deeds, or whatever. Cheers, Bragg.
I guess I thought that they changed that or something like that back when people were using that to exploit the system, but...
Well, maybe, but I don't know if they did or not, because you open a whole new instance, and so it has to regenerate what's there.
Yeah, well, I think what they did is it could be that what they did was just remove the recipes, because what people were, was that some people are doing, in the early days at least, were forcing humanoid drops so that they could get recipes, because those instances were dropping recipes there and really loading up the, I think they're loading up the instance server because of that, because people were starting these installs this time until they got a humanoid drop. Ah, yes, the joys of things like that.
I mean, I know that I like getting scholar mats, and humanoids are the ones who carry them, so...
Yeah.
I never thought about, trying to stop and restart an instance to get a different type of mob, though.
Yeah, because I guess I'd always thought that that always kept the same type of mob when you were doing it, because I figured he would lock in because you had this 1 hour time limit on there. It sounds like, oh yeah, lock in. A whole new group came and took over in less than an hour while you took a couple of minutes off. Sounds a little bit weird.
A little bit weird.
A little bit weird.
Yeah, I don't know the mechanics for it because I don't know that I've ever seen it, even in the ones that I had to stop and then restart. But it could just be that they didn't have different options for those ones, so.
Oh well. If you would like to email us, you could send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAllia, LOTRO at LOTRO Arendis @Arendis, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda @Sanswinda, and Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.